Hey folks, welcome back to another livery build. I'm back after a short break and we are delving into the realms of fantasy once again and imagining what would the Honda Racing team look like had they teamed up with the JACCS Honda team, which is the famous car team. It's a very bright, a very vivid colour scheme, and I want to see what it would look like if they'd merged with the more classic Honda Racing team that we see in the World Superbikes and British Superbikes. So let's see how it goes. So the reason I picked up this one in particular is, well, actually two reasons. The first one is I've had a bit of time away from ride. When I got back from China, things happened at work, faced some bad news outside of that as well, and it just took me away from ride. I got a little bit rusty, I haven't played it for a bit, so I picked it up recently. And what I like to do is, rather than just dive in and look at requests and maybe not do them justice, I play around with it and try and create something just to blow off those cobwebs. And I did it in the past. I've done it with the Terrifier livery. I just created a Terrifier sticker as a bit of a practice. I've done it in other instances just to try and get back into the groove of things and get more familiar with the sticker editor. That's one reason. The other reason is I really enjoy making these type of liveries because there's zero planning involved on my part. So if you remember, I did this before. I did the VR46 Ducati from the MotoGP, and I took that and I blended it with the Ken Block Ford Escort car livery just to see what it would look like. I had no plan. I didn't know what it would look like at the end, but I knew what both of them are. I knew what colours I needed to use. I knew what patterns and design I needed to use. So let's just do that and see what happens. This is exactly the same. So the reason I picked this design in particular, the JACCS Honda, is it's one of those real iconic liveries from the car world. It dates back to the mid-90s, 1996 to be exact. So briefly for some background, JACCS is a financial company. I'm not sure where it's from. I'd assume Japan, but it's a financial company and it backed the Honda Racing team in the Japanese Touring Car Championship. This is going back to 1996, the Japanese Touring Car Championship, driven by, I want to say Naoki Hattori, I hope I said that right. And it was on the Honda Accord, classic, great JDM car. And he won. It was the championship winning car, and what really kind of made it iconic, apart from the fact he won, was just the design itself was very bright, very punchy, very of its time, very 90s, and it has since been replicated. I've got a model somewhere in my home for JACCS Honda Civic, which is equally as nice, if not even better. Also, fast forward to 2021, you might need to go on Google, but in 2021 there was a tribute project to this livery. They called it Project 96 and took part in the US, and they recreated a Honda inspired by this livery, and it looks fantastic. I found it during the research for this video, but I, in hindsight, wish I'd used that as a reference for making this livery. It's such a cool car. So just go on Honda Project 96 on Google and just check that out. What a stunner. So JACCS Honda, or as it was known at the time, Mooncraft, the team name was Mooncraft. I think we often make that mistake though, as we refer to teams as the main sponsor name rather than the actual team name. I do it a lot. But Mooncraft Racing, they raced and won in 1996. However, not sure what happened before or after that. I couldn't find too much information. It was all in Japanese. So what I did find though is after 1997, Honda pulled out of that Japanese touring car series and they moved to, I want to say a higher level. They moved to GT racing. They moved to a class called JGTC and Super GT. Don't know what JGTC stands for, could probably work it out. But they moved to Honda NSX. The Honda NSX is an incredible car. I wouldn't trust myself with one, but they're absolutely beautiful. There's a guy who lives near me who has a all-white Honda NSX, and it is beautiful. I've done minimal research, but if you want to look at the prices of a top condition Honda NSX, you're looking at up to, or anywhere in between, 60 to 100,000 US dollars or more. It's wild, but they're a stunner and they're quite rare. So what I've done on this livery is I've kept the pattern as close to as possible as I could. However, I've swapped the colours around. You would have seen that when I mirror the shapes, I then swap the colours so that it doesn't look symmetrical in its pattern. It does actually look like it's patchwork quilt style. Because I didn't want, if I'd done both sides exactly the same colour, if you would have looked at the bike head on, it just would have looked quite symmetrical. Whereas if I start mixing those colours up, but obviously not having them next to each other, then it creates a little bit of a nicer effect. And what I'm doing on screen now is thinking, okay, I've got that part, but how do I still make it look like it's a Honda racing livery, like a Honda motorcycle racing livery? So I need to create that white block, but getting the right dimensions and angles was a little bit difficult because I still wanted to keep that jagged edge. And to keep that jagged edge consistent, you'd notice that I'm putting a sticker down like so. I did think about doing it directly on the bike, and I thought, you know what, knowing me, we'll have little bits of lines that are longer than the others or a little bit more indented than the others. So to keep it consistent, I'll just make a sticker with a couple of jagged lines. But to create that where you have it thicker in one part and then thinner as it goes across the tank was a bit challenging. So you'll see that I had to improvise a bit and put a diagonal line that goes across to connect those two, like so. At this point I wasn't too sure what to do in the white. I knew that I'd have to fit JACCS in there somewhere, but I'm not sure it would have fit like quite plush. So I would have to think about something else that can go in there too. But fortunately there were some really nice sponsors on the car, so I was able to recreate those in ride and be able to find somewhere that they'll fit. Layers wise, I wasn't too worried about this one. Although that Michelin man is a fantastic sticker, whoever made it, well done. Wasn't one of mine, but it is a hefty amount of layers, is that one. But aside from that, wasn't too many big stickers, which was a nice one to get back into and after some time away. Coming up on the channel, I've done a livery request for a certain Naughty's Superbike star, Lorenzo Lanzi, so we'll have that coming up on the channel soon. What I did on that particular livery is I tried to make it as hard as it needed to be because it was not a very complex livery. However, it could have been a very complex livery had I done some things differently, and that's what I did. So if you stick around for the next video on the channel, you'll see that I'll also include a sticker in there as well, so you can see how I had to get around some of the challenges. So I'll put a sticker tutorial speed art in there, and we'll create the Lorenzo Lanzi replica in the next video. But this is a nice one to get back into it. But on the topic of this livery, I wonder if there are any other liveries from other motorsports that you'd like to see combined. What inspired me to do this originally is I've seen some social media posts where people have taken the Formula 1 liveries and put them on MotoGP bikes. They hadn't blended two styles together, they'd gone with a completely custom livery, but it thought, you know what, that is pretty neat. How can I do something like that? So are there any other car or motorsport liveries that you'd like to see blended or put on a motorcycle? And if so, what motorcycle? I've got some in my mind, but I don't know what bike to put them on. So one that I've wanted to make for quite some time is the Bathing Ape livery. So the Bathing Ape livery, the one that I've seen, well, there's a few actually, it's either black or camouflage or golden camouflage. I think that'd look amazing. Also the Sunoco, Monster Energy Sunoco Toyota. It's like a Toyota Yaris I've seen, red, white and black. That looks super nice. I think that'd go really well on a bike. But yeah, give me some inspiration of motorsport liveries that you'd love to see on a bike, because I enjoy making them. I love making these, and oftentimes you can find some sponsors that really kind of tie the two together. For example, this one, you've got Showa, you've got Michelin, Nissan. All of these were key sponsors on the car, but also on the bike. While I'm here and I have the time as well, I'll also give a little bit of a shout out. So when I was kind of struggling the past couple of weeks, I had absolutely zero motivation to play games at all. Even watching TV, I just felt completely drained. And what got me back into it actually was watching a stream by JACCS. So if you're not familiar with JACCS, I've been living under a rock. So JACCS is the British Superbike Esports Championship, ran by Sean Dobie and the team over at JACCS and SD Productions 21. It is the best esports racing that I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot, especially on motorcycles. I'm a big fan of World, watch the MotoGP esports as well, and it is the best. It's the best production. The racers are the best that I've seen on ride, so it's such a great community. So if you are watching this and you quite enjoy ride, or you're just getting into playing ride or creating liveries and you want to see more custom liveries, or you want to meet a community where you can go and race together of all levels as well. There's different classes to support different levels, and you can work your way up through classes, so you've got good stiff competition no matter how experienced you are. Then do get over to official JACCS on Instagram. If you can't find them, just find me at Ride Liveries on Instagram. Drop me a message, say I'm interested in racing, and I'll get you in touch with the team at JACCS. But honestly, it was watching that stream and the entertainment and the production value. It's like, you know what? I'll pop on Ride and I'll create a sticker. I'll do a little bit of something on Ride, and that kind of got me back into it. So yeah, big thanks to them. They do a wonderful job, and I highly recommend them. So we've not got too much left now on this livery. It's just finishing touches, making sure the colours are consistent and there's no jagged edges or things that look out of place, which is very easy to do when you're handling this many colours. The back of the bike I wasn't too sure what to do, so what I did instead was I used the top of the livery of the car, where you've got JACCS coming in diagonally, a couple of other sponsors above and below it, and that worked out fine. But you can see I'm on about 1,700 layers. I've already done the vast majority of the details that I wanted to do, so right now it's just how do I best use the remaining layers to create something cool. And it goes without saying we need an R5L sticker on there too. If I've got the space, I'll use it. I'm not one of those people that needs to stick my logo on everything that I create. I'm making the number directly on the bike. It's not a difficult number. If you've seen the real livery, if you just check out Honda Accord, JACCS Honda, it's not a difficult number. So I just thought I'd make it directly on the bike, make sure it's the right size. Doesn't take too long to do. I'm going to put the NK sticker on the top. Like I say, I've got some layers, so I will make sure I try and use everything that would, or in places that would appear on a real livery. Squeezing every last layer we've got. You can see how much I spin around the bike, looking at different things, zooming in, tweaking, adding things, how much I enjoy making these. So here we go. This is a blend of the JACCS Honda Accord from 1996 with the classic Honda Racing livery. I brought aspects of both liveries together. You can see where the white kind of follows the similar pattern to what you'd expect for a Honda Racing, and the black at the bottom on the belly pan with the Honda written above it stays consistent with the motorcycle livery. But everything else, including sponsors, colour and pattern, is pulled straight from that 1996 livery. You'll see the HRC sticker just on the side near the front headlights. That pulls from the motorcycle livery. but the rest, including Michelin and Atlas and the likes, comes from the car. I also created a suit to go with it, so you can download that if you just search for JACCS Honda. It is very colourful and great. I like the front came out well, and the back is nice and simple. I managed to squeeze in the number 14. So there we go. Please let me know what you think. Drop a like if you thought this was quite cool and quite creative. Drop a comment if you have suggestions on other blends of liveries that you'd like to see. And up next I will be on the Braille Ducati of Lorenzo Lanzi with some kind of interesting takes or interesting processes of putting that together to make it a little bit more complicated. Some screenshots I took of my little trip around Daytona. Thanks for your patience. It has been a while since I posted. I will try and get back into it. I already have a couple of videos ready for editing, so I will be back very, very soon. Thank you very much. I'll catch you next time.